Monday night was fight night in Denver. In the red corner, weighing in at 245 pounds, a 6'9" power forward Markieff Morris, and in the blue corner, weighing in at 284 pounds, the 6'11" reigning most valuable player, Nikola Jokic, defending. So here's what went down. We can joke about it because they're on Twitter going back and forth about it, so I feel okay about this. But in the moment, it was a little scary. It was. This. So Jokic, after getting fouled hard, comes back and body slams, body checks Morris over there. And it took Morris a while to get up. He got up here. He went back down to the ground. He was holding his neck. Look at this hit again. A stretcher was actually pulled out onto the floor for him. It took him a while to get up. It was a little bit of a scary moment there, especially knowing his history. So, then you see Jimmy Butler saying, bring your booty to the back.
But the Jimmy Butler, and that's the thing, in those moments, I don't know if Jimmy saw everything that happened.
Well, here's Jokic speaking to reporters after the game.
It's a stupid play, I feel bad. I'm not supposed to react that way, but it's in the middle of the game. I got hit. I saw him, but I didn't even I thought it was just gonna be like a take foul, So and he kind of bumped me, and I was like, that was a little bit like I think it was a dirty play, and then I just needed to protect myself.
He's moving around, right now in the locker room, but that was a very dangerous, dirty play. After I watched it on film, it was a take foul. That's how I saw it, and the play, after that, that's just absolutely uncalled for. This whole thing could have been a whole lot uglier if Markieff was actually facing Jokic. The fact that he had his back turned and he made a play like that, the video and picture is worth 1,000 words.
So as you just heard, Jokic spoke to reporters after the game. The Heat, however, did not make any players available to reporters, which is frankly just unacceptable. I'm a huge fan of what the Heat's been doing on the floor this season, but that was disappointing. So instead,
they were by the locker room.
After the dust cleared, everyone took to Twitter to air out their grievances. It started with Markieff's brother Marcus after the game, quote, waited till bro turned his back, shaking my head, noted. And then the Jokic brothers started a Twitter account and responded to Marcus earlier today. You should leave this the way it is instead of publicly threatening our brother. Your brother made a dirty play first. If you want to make a step further, be sure we will be waiting for you. Jokic, but they signed it. Then Markieff tweeted back, I love to see the hate. No doubt I took a hard foul, which I always do, but I've never hit a man with his back turned. Luckily, we built different over here. I can take my licks and keep pushing. Joker, one smooth O, LOL. And then in the past 15 minutes, the back and forth has continued. Markieff Morris also responds to Jokic. Of course you say that. You got the right ones. Believe that. The Jokic brothers tweeted back, don't believe that. I know that.
Okay, we don't need to go through all this is frivolous. Let's get down to what really and truly happened.
There's a lot to go in there. There is, Richard. But before we get into it, I do want to show you guys this photo from Denver Post photojournalist Aaron Ontiveros. This photo of the Miami Heat players in the doorway. It looked like they were waiting for the Nuggets to maybe enter the locker room. They were, it looked like, they were maybe like, okay, what were we? Who there? Are we coming in? Are we not coming in?
We're looking for you.
Shout out to Andy Ellisberg, the Heat's general manager, blocking the whole team.
A lot of folks thought that was security, not security. So, Perk, you were in your fair share of dust-ups over the course of your career. What's your reaction to this?
I love it. But look, if you're going to dish it out, you got to be able to take it. And for the first time in a long time, I agree with Richard.
Yeah.
I saw his video on Twitter, and he said it. Look, Markieff Morris, he shot the dirty, he instigated it. That was a dirty shot. Jokic just happened to be 275 pounds, so he was able to take it, but he retaliated it. I mean, it's part of it.
Look, this is the definition of don't start none, won't be none. And I've seen it. And look, no, UD hit me up and he was like, Richard, I agree. You should never hit somebody in their back when they're not looking and body checking. At the same point in time, we've seen take a foul. Now, the Miami Heat version of taking a foul might be a forearm chuck.
So this is what you're referring to when you said that because you're just a social media star now, at least according to you, that you posted a cheeky video on Twitter or on Instagram and then...
It was TikTok.
Sorry, the TikTok.
Yeah.
nah, RJ, I disagree. This is the back and forth you're referring to.
Yes, he says he takes fouls on people like that all the time to stop the break. That's true, but there was a little bit of extra. There was a little bit of forearm shiver, and that's the reigning MVP. Most of the time, if you hit a guy like that, your star player, everyone else comes into defense of that player. Jokic went over the top. He did a little bit, then he did a little bit, and then you guys are sitting there in front of the locker room. Now the Jokic brothers are doing. At the end of the day, there was a little bit extra behind the Morris hit. They took the L on the court. They took the L in the fight. Just keep it pushing, and hopefully you can see him in the finals.
Well, luckily, he's okay.
He's okay.
And we can have this kind of discussion because that was the point where it got a little bit scary. I do want to bring in senior writer Zach Lowe into this discussion. Can you beam in, Zach? Hello. So Jokic's teammate, Zach, they said last night that this was pretty uncharacteristic, is what they said, Zach, of Jokic. So what exactly is Jokic and Morris's history of fouls like this?
First of all, I don't have any brothers. I feel like I need some brothers to stand up for me. I don't think my little sister is going to be standing up for me like this. Second of all, I can't believe Perk and our TikTok senior citizen, Richard Jefferson, over there. Look, they're absolutely right that Markieff Morris instigated it for the Heat, and I love Eric Spoelstra, but for him to say, oh, that was just a take foul, that wasn't just a take foul.
Thank you.
That was a cheap shot. That was a hard take foul. But you cannot, 285 pounds, you cannot just run into someone with a history
Don't mess
of
with
back
the Bulls unless you
neck
want
problems
the horns.
and and forearm check them
First of all,
in
what
the
do you know
back
about
when they're
Bulls,
not looking,
horns,
man.
like-
That is not okay. And Jokic has a history, contrary to what his teammates said, his temper has always been his biggest enemy. We saw it in the playoffs against the Suns last year. When he gets frustrated after a no call or when the game just isn't going Denver's way, he has a history of slapping people, and sometimes they're innocent little taps, and sometimes like the one on Campaign in the playoffs last year, they are full-on wind-ups that if they hit the wrong target, they're going to do some damage. So I'm going to expect a multi-game suspension here for Jokic, and I think, frankly, it's deserved. I think Markieff will probably get fined because the Morris brothers instigate stuff. You guys are right about that. But there's no place for what Jokic did last night. That was a really dangerous cheap shot. And by the way, in a bizarre way, they're almost lucky that Markieff was hurt enough to stay on the floor, because if he gets up, that is a full-on brawl, and lots of stuff could happen.
Tim Legler and I were actually texting about that exact thing last night. Richard was yanking on my sleeve.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I would say this is that European players, and we can all sit up here and follow this game, European players have a reputation for being soft. This is the reputation, whether it's real or fair or not. So you want to be aggressive. You want to be physical with them. These are all the things that you want to do. And so sometimes they retaliate. And I'm not saying that it's right. What he did was wrong. But at the end of the day, for us to say that this was a general take foul and that Jokic was supposed to go and tap Morris on his shoulders and like, excuse me, I'd like to have words with you. That is not the way this is going to go. These were two men. They got into a tussle.
Right.
One of them won. One of them started.
Right.
The other one finished it. And that was the end of it.
Right. Well, okay. So let's see how it actually is going to go, because as Zach Lowe mentioned, it's hard to imagine some sort of suspension not being handed down here. So, Brian, what is the expectation on how the league is going to handle
Yeah,
this?
so the threshold for suspensions in the NBA has increased under Adam Silver. If this was David Stern as the commissioner and Rod Thorne as a czar of discipline, I think he would definitely see a harsh suspension, but that just hasn't been the way Adam Silver has gone. In fact, Kiki Vandeweghe, who was the czar of discipline, left after last season, and he hasn't even been replaced yet. To show you where they are. So Byron Spruell, the VP of Operations, will make the ruling on this. But it's kind of similar to a play that happened last year in the playoffs between Patrick Beverley and Chris Paul. You remember that? Chris Paul kind of, talked about something when he walked past, and Chris Paul pushed him in the back. That resulted in a one-game suspension. Now, that wasn't an instigation physically, so that could be a baseline they go back to. I agree with Zach that I do think that because of the force of the play, that maybe they'll look. But, Jokic has avoided suspensions for stuff in the past. So you also may want to send a message to Jokic to knock this off.
Well, I mean, you got to be a pro at this. I would.
At shoving or?
Well, both.
Okay.
And I thought Jokic did a great job in this interview. One thing you have to do, you have to be remorseful. Okay, and look, Zach, nobody is going to have a brawl. Nobody's going to fight. I delivered a lot of hard fouls, and you know what I came to? I did, Richard. And you know what I came to the conclusion of is that list. A lot of these guys ain't gonna bust a grape in the fruit fight, and they ain't gonna pour milk on cereal. And they ain't gonna listen to it go snap, crackle, or pop. Here we go. Here go a prime example. I fouled somebody hard.
And you walked away?
I walked away. I took my shove. I knew I was gone.
How much did that cost you?
$10K.
Yeah, look.
But I was remorseful. I told him.
Were you really?
It could've cost-
He's walking, but that's what I'm
I
saying.
walked
He
away.
walked
I took my shove. I wasn't tripping. Look.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But you knew what was
gosh.
coming.
I knew what was
You
coming.
knew what was coming. And that's
Also,
what-
Max Seal couldn't shoot free throws. It was actually probably a smart foul.
Yeah, shout out to Doc Rivers for
but
paying
also
my
that's
fine.
what that, when they talk about the NBA being soft, that's part of it. It's like, player, you knew what was coming. Now all of a sudden players can do that, and it's like, well, I didn't think he was going to do anything
I
to
will
me.
say though, Perk, that foul might feel a little different nowadays than it did at your, in your playing time. All right, coming up on